In today's world, spirituality is often seen through the lens of moral niceness. The idea that a spiritual person is kind, polite, well-behaved, patient, and unerringly gentle. The spiritual person is someone who does good deeds, who serves others selflessly, and who radiates a peaceful aura. If you look at many of the popular portrayals of spirituality, whether in books, social media, or the teachings of modern gurus, you might get the impression that being spiritually enlightened means being nice. But the deeper truth of the spiritual journey goes far beyond this superficial understanding. Professor Kees Weijman spent his lifetime studying the nature of spirituality. His seminal work, Spirituality, Forms, Foundations, Methods, explores what it truly means to be spiritual. Weijman posits that spirituality is not just about living according to an ideal set of virtues or embodying a moralistic code of conduct. Instead, spirituality is about recovering the original shape of humanity, the divine image that lies at the heart of every individual. According to Weijman, each spiritual tradition offers a unique path to reconnect with this divine mold, a perfect representation of our highest potential. In Judaism, this divine image is represented by the Torah, the eternal law that governs life and offers guidance toward holiness. In Christianity, it is Christ, who embodies the perfect union of divinity and humanity. In Buddhism, it is the Buddha, whose enlightenment shows the way to transcend suffering and attain a higher state of consciousness. And in Islam, it is Muhammad, whose submission to God exemplifies the way to live in harmony with divine will. These spiritual figures are not mere ethical models to imitate, but are archetypes, representations of what human beings are meant to become. They point towards something far more profound than surface-level virtue. The spiritual path, according to Weijman, is about recovering this divine image, but it is not a path defined by external niceness. It is a path of profound inner transformation, one that reshapes who we are at the deepest level. When we begin to follow a spiritual path, it is easy to assume that we must align with the qualities of goodness associated with these figures. We might think that to be spiritual means to be always calm, peaceful, and loving, never angry, never judgmental, and never unpleasant. And in many ways, society encourages this view. The spiritual person is expected to be the one who radiates warmth, compassion, and understanding. This vision of spirituality often boils down to a set of moral imperatives. Do no harm, be kind to others, avoid conflict, be tolerant, and live with love. But this understanding of spirituality, though valuable, is also limited and potentially misleading. As Carl Jung, one of the most influential psychologists of the 20th century, pointed out, every form of addiction is bad, no matter whether the narcotic is alcohol or morphine or idealism. Jung's words caution us against becoming addicted to ideals, even spiritual ones. When we become attached to the image of spiritual perfection, whether that be a perfect image of Christ, Buddha, Muhammad, or some other archetype, we can easily fall into a trap of self-deception. We become obsessed with appearing to be good or nice and lose touch with the raw, messy, and often uncomfortable reality of what it means to truly evolve spiritually. Niceness and spirituality can easily transform into an addiction to the idea of spiritual perfection. It can become a trap that holds us hostage, preventing us from embracing the deeper, more difficult aspects of our spiritual journey. The craving to be seen as good can overshadow the need to be authentic. This addiction to idealism causes us to become fixated on an outward image of what we think we should be, rather than embracing the full complexity of who we are. To be clear, there's nothing inherently wrong with kindness, patience, or goodness. These qualities are integral to any authentic spiritual path. But when we elevate niceness to the point where it becomes our only measure of spiritual progress, we miss the true depth of what spirituality offers: personal transformation, inner liberation, and a return to our truest self. In fact, trying to force ourselves into an idealized version of niceness can become a form of spiritual bypassing, an avoidance of the deeper, more challenging work that spirituality requires. True spirituality isn't about avoiding discomfort, complexity, or conflict. It's about facing the totality of the human experience, including the parts of us that are imperfect, messy, and even contradictory. Spiritual growth involves confronting our shadow selves, the parts of us that we'd rather not acknowledge, including our fears, desires, insecurities, and limitations. The spiritual path is about transformation, through facing these shadows head-on, rather than hiding behind a facade of niceness. The path of true spirituality isn't about becoming someone you are not. It is not about trying to live up to an idealized image of goodness or saintliness. Instead, it is about becoming who you are meant to be, your most authentic self, stripped of pretension and masks. The spiritual journey is one of self-discovery and self-acceptance, where you allow yourself to be as you truly are, imperfections and all. This process is not always comfortable or easy, and it may not fit the conventional image of what it means to be spiritual. Spirituality is, at its core, about truth. It is about aligning with the deepest, most honest expression of who you are. And that expression may not always align with society's standards of niceness or goodness. It may require you to be more courageous, more vulnerable, more raw, and more real than you've ever been before. Sometimes, this may involve difficult choices or actions that go against the grain of social expectations. For example, standing up for yourself when others might expect you to be meek, speaking your truth even when it's uncomfortable, allowing yourself to feel anger, frustration, or sadness without trying to suppress it. Spirituality requires you to walk your own path, and that path may be unconventional, unpredictable, and at times even controversial. Rather than conforming to an external image of goodness or piety, the true spiritual journey is one of deep reformation, a process of returning to your true essence. This reformation is about stripping away the layers of social conditioning, family expectations, and societal norms that have shaped your identity. It is about reclaiming your power to live authentically, without worrying about fitting into someone else's mold. Weidmann's perspective on spirituality as reformation aligns with Carl Jung's understanding of individuation, the process through which a person becomes their most authentic self. Individuation involves embracing all aspects of your being, integrating your light and dark sides, and accepting the fullness of who you are. It is not about being nice or perfect or saintly, but about being complete and whole. The spiritual path is not a journey toward becoming someone else. It is not about conforming to an image of spiritual perfection or moral goodness. It is about a profound process of becoming you, of reconnecting with the divine spark within you and allowing it to express itself fully in all its complexity. This means facing your fears, acknowledging your weaknesses, and learning to love yourself unconditionally, even when you don't meet society's standards of perfection. The reason why simply being nice is not enough on the spiritual path is because niceness is often rooted in fear. Fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of conflict. When we prioritize being nice, we often do so at the expense of our authenticity. We hide behind pleasantries and superficial behaviors to avoid the discomfort of real self-expression. But true spirituality demands more than just surface-level compliance with social norms. It calls us to dive deep into the heart of who we are, to engage with the totality of our humanity, and to embrace the full range of emotions, experiences, and expressions that come with being human. Being spiritually awake is not about avoiding difficult emotions or circumstances. It is about navigating those challenges with awareness, compassion, and courage. The spiritual path is not an escape from the realities of life, but a deeper engagement with them. It is about learning to respond to life with wisdom, authenticity, and presence, not with niceness for the sake of appearance. In the end, the spiritual path is not about being nice. It is about being true to your essence. It is about returning to the original divine image within you, shedding the layers of external expectations, and embracing the fullness of who you are. True spirituality is not about fitting into a mold of goodness, but about allowing yourself to be real, to show up in your full complexity, to confront the shadows within you, and to express the divine spark that exists in the core of your being. Niceness may be a byproduct of the spiritual path, but it is never the goal. The goal is radical authenticity, the courage to walk your own path, and the wisdom to embrace every aspect of your journey. The spiritual path, in its truest form, is not about conforming to an image of perfection, but about becoming fully you, embracing your truth and allowing it to shine brightly in a world that so often values appearances over authenticity. And in this authenticity, you will find your truest power. The spiritual path is not about fitting into someone else's mold, nor is it about conforming to an image of niceness or perfection. It is a profound journey of embracing your true self, raw, authentic, and unapologetically real. As you walk this path, remember that it is the courage to face your shadows and honor your uniqueness that will guide you toward true transformation. The divine doesn't call us to be perfect. It calls us to be real. So, as you reflect on this journey, ask yourself, are you living true to your essence, or are you simply playing a role? True spirituality isn't about avoiding discomfort or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about walking through life with authenticity, even when it's difficult, even when it challenges the status quo. The more you embrace the truth of who you are, the more you will experience the deep peace and fulfillment that come from being whole rather than merely nice. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to like, comment, and share your thoughts below. Let us know how you are embracing your own truth on your spiritual path. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more insights on how to live authentically and fully in every aspect of your life. The journey towards wholeness is one that we all walk together. Let's keep exploring it with honesty, courage, and heart.